welcome to the Diabetes Army channel. And my name is Dan. I'm a former professional wrestler, lost 112 pounds during the pandemic. Of course, that was after I gained 150 pounds on insulin. So today I want to talk to you about my Dexcom G7. I'm a Dexcom warrior. I was using the product for I don't know how long before Dexcom reached out to me. I absolutely love it. I was wearing a G6, so here's a funny story about wearing a CGM, whether it be Dexcom or any other brand. I never wanted to wear one because I always thought that I would knock it off. I thought I'm a very active guy. I'm always in the gym. I'm always running around. And I just thought it would fall off and not stay on me. So my doctor is a doctor of a professional sports team. I live in Los Angeles, so you can kind of try to figure out which team it might be. But he told me some guys in the league, the pro leagues, are starting to wear CGMs to monitor their health. For a type 2 diabetic, which I am, it just makes sense to watch your blood sugars, your glucose levels, and things like this to see exactly where you're at with yourself. So that's what I started thinking about when he suggested, again, with the guys, the pro athletes wearing, monitors to see where their levels are at, that it might make sense to somebody like me. And if they're active and they're able to run around with all the stuff that they've got going on, maybe I could keep one on and it might not be too bad. So that's what I did. I decided to put one on and wear one, and so far so good. So I started with the G6, and with the G6 it was good. I wore it on my abdomen. I found that the glue wasn't that great for my body because I would get a rash sometimes from it and things like that. And it would stay on. Sometimes I'd have a hard time keeping it on, so I used to get tape and tape it on too. So whatever way I could, I wanted to stay on. They last about 10 days, and then after that, you switch them out. Great product, though, I got to tell you. Just watching the apps on my phone to see where my blood sugar was, my glucose levels were. I really wanted to track it and monitor it, and not only knowing where I'm at, but seeing what kind of things really affect me. So, for example, when I work out, how much does my glucose levels, how much do they go up? When I eat certain foods, can I eat, even if a food's low carb, if I eat it, does it give me a spike? Does it not give me a spike? So I watched all of that, and I call it diet hacking. So I diet hacked myself to try to figure out exactly where I'm at, what I'm doing, and things like that. So I found it amazing. The G7 came out, and so I get the G7, and it's 60% smaller than the G6. And you might not think that means a lot because they're not that big of a thing that you have on you, but they really, really are. And it really, I notice a big difference just for the fact that it is that much smaller. I also noticed that it's got a warm-up time of 30 minutes versus the 2 hours on the G6. That warm-up time is nice because if I swap out at night and I'm waiting for it to come alive before I go to bed, and I have to sit for 2 hours sometimes, it was a bit of a pain. So we have that working for us too. And then the other thing is you've got a 12-hour grace window. So what does that mean? So that means, let's say I was going to the office early, I put it on at say 6:30 in the morning, it comes due at 6:30 in the morning again. Well, let's say that's a Saturday and I decide, hey, I want to sleep in 7, 8 o'clock. Well, I'd be without a monitor for a couple of hours there. But with this, you've got a 12-hour grace period, so you don't really have to worry about that. You've got time where you can actually make it accommodating for your schedule that day. And that's really a nice feature. I was thinking about that yesterday because mine came due, I swapped them out. And I swapped them out on my time instead of on the other time, and to parlay that into the other feature, it was only a 30-minute warm-up. So I did it last night, and I didn't have to stay up for 2 extra hours waiting for it to kick in. So it's been really good. As far as it staying on, Dexcom's changed the glue on the G7 versus the G6. I talked about this with them when I was in San Diego, when I toured their factory, and I came off my arm last night, and it's not like it was with the G6. It doesn't tear my body up. and I really, really like that. Now, I'm a little abnormal. Most people don't have any effects from it, but I guess my body is sensitive to whatever type of glue that was. On the G7, I'm not finding that at all. It's been really great. And the G7 goes on the back of your arm, not on the abdomen. So that's an even better thing. So, but finding the G7 works really, really well for me. It's like my doctor told me. I am getting great results with it. It is staying on. I don't have any issues with it. It's just been good. Now, do I still keep, and I put this on my social media today, do I still keep my old finger prick stuff around? Absolutely. The reason is that when I first put on the G7, I want to make sure that it's calibrated. So I do the actual prick my finger versus that, and I'll do 2 or 3 of those along the way just to make sure that they're in sync. One of my readers, or one of my followers today, hit me up and said that what she does is that if she's having a low with blood sugar, and that could happen, as we all know, in the middle of the night, whenever, she will actually go and do both, use her CGM and also prick her finger just to make sure they're both on the same page when it comes to fixing that low with her blood sugar. So that's something to think about as well. So this has been my breakdown between the CGM and the finger prick. Yes, you need to hang on to your finger prick just in case, and just to make sure you're calibrated and everything else. Not a bad thing to have. Or in case of emergency, if you do tear it off and you're waiting for another one to come in or whatever the case may be, you've still got a backup plan. So I would say hang on to the old finger pricks. Keep them on hand. You never know what you might need. However, I'm having great results with my Dexcom G7. I absolutely love it, and I would recommend it to anybody. This is what's worked for me. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just throwing out my experiences as we create more awareness on type 2 diabetes. So take a look at it, talk to your medical professionals, and see if your insurance will cover it. And if it does, in my case, well worth it. And I love it every day I wear it. So there's our update as far as my CGM goes and my finger prick. So hope you're having a great week, and we will talk soon.